up? Welcome in. This is The Herd. Wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening, thanks so much for making us part of your day live from sunny Los Angeles. I'm Doug Gottlieb in for Colin. Christine Leahy alongside with the news. And Tommy Terrific had his first Facebook show yesterday. Last night, I believe it dropped, as the kids say. Kids say it dropped.
Yes.
Tom
That's
versus...
more of a music thing now. You don't say like a movie dropped. You say like my album dropped.
Yes. TV
So-
show dropped on Facebook. It was in the can. In the can means pre-recorded. In the can.
Okay, then you know what you
I'm
do.
just trying to sound hip here.
You do you.
I'm going to be me. I'm going to do me. That's Christine Leahy. She watched every second of Tom.
Not yet, but I have a date set with my computer later.
Tom versus Time. Yes. Does Tom versus Time rank ahead of The Bachelor?
You know I love The Bachelor.
Who doesn't love The
Do
Bachelor?
you watch this season?
I've watched a little bit of the season. Ari Leyendyke strikes me as utterly and completely uninteresting.
No, he's not uninteresting. He's nuts.
He strikes me as not that interesting. I don't remember him that much as a race car driver, and I don't think he's all that good looking. But his last name is Leyendyke, and he's the Bachelor, and they all love him. They love him.
Well, they have to pretend like they love him. That's kind of the goal, so you can be the next Bachelorette.
He's into it. Like I'm told, he's really into 22-year-old with short hair. I'm really into I can't say how old my wife is with short hair. So like if he's into short hair brown hair girls, then there is at least something that we can relate to.
I think he's more interested in the fact that she's 22.
Think so?
Yeah. Well, his first dates are real creepy. If you think about him, like if you really watch,
Yeah.
super creepy first dates.
Well, listen, I
They're
have some
digging too
time coming
far.
up. I'm going. Unlike you and Colin, we're going to the Twin Cities, and
You are?
we are. I'm going to Minneapolis, St. Paul, and it's cold, and my blood has thinned substantially since moving back home to Southern California. So unless it's got to be a huge ask to get me out of that hotel room, right? It's going to be a radio show, and then I'm going to catch up on The Bachelor. And I'm gonna watch Tom versus Time and a lot of hoop on TV.
That sounds great.
That's so I'll report back my thoughts on Ari Leyendyke. So
we're doing some shows together, I think, in February, so we can have a catch-up meeting.
We can have the catch-up meeting and figure out where Ari is at that point in time. You know, one of the things that I've heard Colin discuss, and I've seen kind of this general discussion in sports, is that Tom Brady, if he wins a Super Bowl, this would cement him as the greatest team sport athlete of all time, which again, like we keep finding new ways, to contextualize our arguments. And of course, if you're going to put him up there, that means you're going to leapfrog Joe Montana, who won every Super Bowl he played in, playing for the San Francisco 49ers, which that's his idol. If he's already surpassed him, somebody's going to have to let me know. Although he did author the greatest comeback in the history of the Super Bowl just last year, and he's doing it now at 40 years old, a time in which most guys should have already retired, and he doesn't appear to be any closer to retirement this year than he was last year this time. But let me make the most concise, maybe obvious argument that will only point out that Tom Brady is great. Okay? First thing is, I don't actually think Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback ever. Now, and I think that's part of the clever and interesting way of calling him the best team sport athlete of all time, is you're not putting his quarterbacking skills up against Aaron Rodgers, who has won a Super Bowl, albeit only one, but in terms of checking every box, seems to check them better than Tom Brady does, with the exception of the one big box, which is number of Super Bowl wins. But it's the ultimate team sport, and I don't think you can fault Aaron Rodgers for not fielding an onside kick in Seattle, which kept him from another Super Bowl. And look, we have been robbed. We never got LeBron versus Kobe in the NBA Finals. And we've never gotten Tom Brady versus Aaron Rodgers in a Super Bowl. We have been robbed. It's not happened. Tom Brady had 466 yards passing and led the greatest comeback in the history of the Super Bowl last year. He was great. He's had 3 Super Bowls in which he's had over 100 passer rating. He's been tremendous. I'm not sitting here trying to diminish Tom Brady. But let me explain why he cannot match up to Michael Jordan. A couple ways. First, there's the obvious. Michael Jordan got there 6 times, didn't lose any. Didn't lose any. Second, there's a 10-year gap. Remember, the Patriots, if you look at these stats for Super Bowls, Remember, there's a 10-year window between Super Bowl wins. 10 years. So if you're the greatest team sport athlete of all time, why a decade without bringing home a championship? Is that too much to ask? Maybe it only. But here's the to me the cementing part of the argument. How many of you actually remember Tom Brady's first Super Bowl against the Rams? Rams were the greatest show on turf. Rams were defending Super Bowl champions. Do you guys remember it? Like, I remember it because what the Patriots did that day was soon replicated. It used to be every team was introduced. They either introduced the offense or the defense one by one, right? And the last player introduced for the St. Louis Rams was Kurt Warner, comes running out in the field, and it's a huge Russian noise, the NFL's MVP. And the New England Patriots were introduced en masse. And now the New England Patriots, and it was like, what? The Patriots had this clever thing of like, hey, it's about team, it's not about guys, we're not about glamour. But you know what it wasn't about? It wasn't about Tom Brady. Brady threw for 145 yards in his first Super Bowl win. That was a team that was designed to, if I said Jacksonville Jaguars, it's too harsh. But the idea was they knew they had an inexperienced quarterback. They knew he wasn't the strength of the team. So he just didn't lose the game. Trent Dilfer did. Right? He managed the game. That's what he did. Early in his career, he managed the game. And so if you're going to compare championship to championship, in addition to Michael Jordan, not just winning championships, but being the MVP, the unquestionably best player on the floor. He was always the best player on his team, always the best player on the floor when he got to the sport's biggest games. And to that, I would say cements him as the greatest team sport athlete of all time. I get it. It's a different sport. It's one guy out of 5 as opposed to one guy out of 11, one guy out of 12 versus one guy out of 53. It's a really hard, but we're making that comparison. And if you're going to make the comparison that Tom Brady, because he has a higher winning percentage, is somehow better, because he's won as many championships, is somehow better. The easy argument was Tom Brady always the best player on his own team, let alone the best player on the field? And the answer is no. Go back through, I don't know, Michael Jordan's first NBA Finals, 1991, against the LA Lakers. Last finals that Magic Johnson ever played in. You know, he averaged over 11 assists a game in the NBA Finals. 37 points, 11.4 assists. This was his first. You're supposed to be nervous once you get to the the chance to cross over into the greatest threshold of your sports career. He wasn't. Now, look, I've always been in the bag for Jordan, but I'm also more of a Joe Montana guy and an Aaron Rodgers guy. But what Tom Brady's doing is amazing. It's incredible. No one I know thought they were going to lose on Sunday. Do you? Was there anyone sitting around going, Jags got him where they want him? Like, everybody's like,
I thought it for a split second.
Huh?
Like, actually a split minute. I did.
At what point in time did you think it?
At the beginning of the second half. I just thought,
quarter, in the fourth quarter, when they're down 10, you thought that?
I thought that the Patriots had a good chance to win, but at that point, maybe it would be over.
Yeah, no, look, when it was 10 points in the fourth quarter, Goulet, did you think at any point in time that the Patriots were going to lose? Like, of course, Goulet's from New England. There's no chance.
I'm not a Patriots fan, though.
I know you're
no,
not.
I never had a doubt.
Never had a doubt. Music, did you had no, we talked about this on Monday on my show, which, by the way, follows this show on Fox Sports Radio and on the iHeartRadio app, 3 o'clock Eastern time. Did you have any thought that the Jaguars were going to win the game?
At no point did I think the Patriots were going to lose.
And let's also remember this. One thing, Christine. Let's also remember this. The Patriots, this has been the easiest run they possibly could have gotten, right? Like, they didn't have to go on the road. They played the Tennessee Titans, who they shouldn't have even been in the playoffs. They gave up more points than they scored. Tennessee liked their coaching staff so much that the second they lost to the Patriots, they fired their coach, right? I mean, that was a not ready for prime time. It was an easy layup of a game. So they're all healthy, all fresh, all rested. Then they get the Jaguars, who have Blake Bortles as quarterback. Bortles isn't even going to be the Jaguars quarterback next year. So you get those two. This has been an easy run. Again, that shouldn't take away from Brady coming from 10 points down or Brady coming from 28 down 28-3. But it's simply to point out that Brady is great. If we're going to compare him to the greats of all time, I would say that there were moments to which he wasn't the best player on his own team, let alone the field, during any of these during several of these Super Bowls. And that never happened with Jordan. What were you going to say, Christina? I'm sorry.
I was going to say that it's more of a superstition thing for me. Like, I can't, if they're down 10, I can't say, oh, they've got it, because then that feels like I'm jinxing them. I have to be okay.
I get
You know
the
what
whole
I'm saying?
superstition thing. I know it's one of the most insane things we do as fans.
Superstitions?
Yeah, yes. Like, I'm not going to move from the seat because this is my lucky seat. It has nothing to do with it. By the way, we're showing Jordan. People forget that Jordan, like, I can go through each finals and point out why he was amazing. Like, he didn't just win his last championship. It was on the road in Utah in Game 6. He got a layup. He made 2 free throws. Then he got a layup. Then he got a steal. Then he hit a bucket as the buzzer expired. Like, it's as good a finish as you could ever have, and that essentially finished his career. Like, that's incredible. Even better in many ways than what Brady did last year, down 28-3. So, and then, of course, the up and under against the Lakers. The Lakers won. I mean, there's the push-off against Brian Russell. What were you saying?
How fun is it to watch those highlights? This
He was
makes
so
me so
good.
happy.
It was because you were always told that the best rise to the occasion, and he somehow rose to the occasion.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Like, look
pretty
at him
remarkable.
just jump. And the tongue out.
A remarkable athlete. All right, last night's NBA MVP showed why they didn't broadcast the All-Star draft, even though they probably should have. Why they should have, why they didn't. We recap them both next in The Herd.